Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wolfram Language Design Review, following one we just finished a few minutes ago. This one is about graphics. And let's get started. Around in plot.
So this is a
Okay.
continuation of a previous thing, and I think Sander had sent in an example.
Yes, Sandra joined a previous live stream, so maybe he'll join this one too. Okay. All right. So this has to do with the aggregation of error bars. And I wasn't believing in this, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, truth in visualization. You can't, you know, but what's the issue? The issue is if there's too many error bars like this, it looks stupid.
Right.
So what are we going to do?
Right. So the example he sent in, I think, is like showing the first, last, and middle error bar. And it doesn't look like a middle error bar because the x-axis is on a log scale.
Yeah,
Um,
I think if you want to do that, you have to do it yourself.
right.
But
Um,
but I agree that this case is not very useful.
right. And so what we also have is we have this interval markers option, which has been around for a few versions. I mean, basically ever since we added around support
I know,
for
you're
like
right.
the list plots.
But I think what we should be doing is some kind of opacity play that just makes this thing, makes it work for isolated rounds. But if they're all clumped together, you know, they somehow have opacity. Possibly because they always have opacity. I don't know.
And what I was thinking is, I mean, so there's sort of potentially multiple cases, and I don't know how common some of them are. Right. So like that one where it's really dense in the middle.
Hmm.
Every single one of those points has an around on
I
it.
understand.
And so in the case especially where like every point has uncertainty that's coming along with it, I'm wondering if we want to auto switch to bands at some length, once there's more than 50 of them or something.
Okay, I got a different issue for you. Okay, let's say we
Okay.
just what am I
What?
doing wrong?
I have no
Oh,
idea.
I did. I was doing. I thought I did it right. I just forgot the word point. So let's do a list plot here. Okay, hunky dory. Okay, point size is hunky dory. Okay, let me ratchet that up to 25,000 points. Okay, it's beginning to clump. It's beginning to look. Now, by the time I'm at, you know, let's say 150,000 points, it's like, what's the density of points there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we had, if in this case, I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm just, uh, if we could have a way to, I mean, that's not useful either.
Well, I mean,
Besides,
right. I mean, it's uniform, so you aren't going to see meaningful overlaps from.
okay, so let's
Um,
say, uh,
random variates, yeah. And just put a normal distribution open close in there and leave the rest of it.
okay, so that's not terribly useful. Nor is that.
Right. I mean, you have this trade-off where you get the accumulation of the opacities in the central there, but then the side effect is that the edge points fade out.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I can't even see that there's a higher density there. Why can't I see that?
Well, I mean, I think you can a little bit. I mean, there's a little bit of that density gradient, I think, toward the edge, but
How do I get a double peak distribution here? Can I just say I can't just say normal distribution plus another normal distribution, can I?
No, I don't think so. Um, I mean, I would normally do it by like a join of two random variates with.
What is
That's
solution
an
two?
interesting
What,
idea. Okay, try 2 comma, yeah, 1 or whatever. And that's still sort of a normal distribution,
does
right? And
that do?
instead of
Why
plus,
wasn't
do
there a
join.
zero there? Why wasn't this thing? Oh, I see. That's got two parallel lists. Help me out, somebody. Anyway, okay. The question is, I think this problem is really no different than this problem.
Hmm.
And by the way, I think that the why is that one giving?
I mean, I think the band should be behaving like the one above it, where only the
Okay,
central value is.
but this doesn't have any mouse over here.
Yeah, it's too many points. It's right. We turn it off. So that you don't run into
Oh,
performance
great,
issues.
great. I'm glad you turned it off. By the way, there's a bunch of clicking in the background. I don't know if you can fix that. Is that
Sorry.
you, Brett? The, um. Okay. All right. So what's the bottom line here? To me, there's a question. Maybe Tim has something to say about this, or somebody else. What can we do with, making a thing like this be more useful? Right?
What are you expecting to see?
I'm expecting to see it denser in the middle. I mean, right
Can,
now,
can you
So you
try?
can see it all the way to the very middle where that would be the densest, right?
right. So this, if I
Okay.
say histogram 3D of this, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful little.
Look at that. See? Mhm. And if I say here, right, that's what I want to see here.
I'm wondering if,
I
like,
mean, that's like a rendering style for a density plot. It's I think Tim has even made one that does that. Um,
No, but
it's
it's not a density plot. This is a plot. Look, the thing I'm asking, and maybe it's too much to ask for, is there a way of adjusting the rendering of points when they get to a high density so that we can see that this thing isn't flat in the middle, right? Maybe it's crazy. Maybe there's no way to do this. I don't know.
I mean, if you have a density estimate for each little area, you can generate new points that correspond to that and that they're actually visible to. And it's a way that people used to render density plots if they didn't have color.
Sorry, by what means?
It's what is it called? Didn't you have one of those, Tim? Is a plot theme for density plots or something like that?
I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
So this is a way to generate points at the density. Um, so they're
Oh,
denser
I
in
know
the
what
mid.
you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about randomly generating points. That's such a disgusting technique.
Yeah,
It's absolutely horrifying technique. I mean, it's like fakeness and data if you ever saw it, right?
yeah,
It
but it's
looks
it's a
like,
way to use sort of black and white rendering, when people didn't have any kind of other things.
no, I understand. It's like the dither pattern of
Hmm.
I'm led to just for amusement value. I think I might have something from the
It
very
has a
ancient.
name. I just can't remember its name right now. It's
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember also that it has a name of some kind.
Anything of stippling?
No, not stippling. It's a ask an AI. Well, no. Um, yeah, this is from the ancient past. This is the kind of thing. There's a Well, that was a height plot, basically. It's basically a density plot
Yeah.
done with that is with
Is it done that way? Yeah, kind of
it's
is.
done,
Yeah.
well, it's not random points. It's not random points. It's just
Right. But it's a density of a
of dots.
raster of it looks like
Dots.
oh, is it dots? Okay.
Yeah, it's dots.
Yeah. You can do that either sort of regular or random, and but that way you can control it and that it actually has the right measure. And maybe if one thinned them out, one would arrive at the same thing. It's just very hard to.
I understand, but I'm asking, is there something we can do for list plot there? Which
think
would
that
be,
I mean, so if you go back to your approach with opacity, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if
opacity.
the 0.1 was still too high. If
I see. Let's try it.
Try like 0.01.
I mean, and I think anything below 0.1 is going to be hit or miss on particular renderers of.
Yeah, like look at that.
Yeah, okay,
And
but so what that's showing is now we've lost all the outside points, right?
Right.
yeah. And so the other thing is that we can never use point size. Point size is very quantized and so this has much higher dynamic bandwidth. Opacity
Yeah,
does.
but so my question would be, is there an analogy with plot range? Okay. So plot range, for example, if we were doing an array plot, there's a Z plot range basically.
Yeah.
And then here, it's kind of like an opacity value for, a point density. If above some number of points, you start reducing, I mean, what one could do. Okay, so here's a
I
question.
think that the problem is that list plot is too generic. It's not mission oriented like that. It's sort of it would.
Well, be that as it may, but I think the question is, could we do something here? I mean, so if those outer points were larger, okay, the problem is what you're mostly perceiving is ink area times opacity.
Yeah.
I mean, so the other thing that somebody had shown I mean, a little not quite recently, but a while back, was
And
a version of like smooth density histogram of that data, but instead of it filling the entire rectangle, by the time the points started becoming toward the edges and distinct from each other, you started getting like individual points instead of the sort of full gradient.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that's similar to what Roger was saying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
none of
actually,
this is
there is
solution to-
another technique that come from spatial point statistics, and it's called pruning, and it's the same as people use when they prune a forest. So you decide to prune a point with a certain probability, basically.
Yeah.
And if you do that just uniformly across the whole thing, you would achieve a similar result.
Yeah, I know. They're both fakeness and visualization, in my view. Okay, I've got another suggestion. Okay.
I don't know, Stephen. The point of visualization is insight.
Yeah, I know. But when you have fake points, it's really bad, in my view. It's really bad. I've seen people do this, okay? And I've seen people even
look at
have
that.
stupid plots. What's that?
You could see when you scaled it up that some more things became visible because there was white space in between, whereas when it was small, there wasn't. See? Yeah, there's more and more, as it gets bigger.
Right. Okay, here's a crazy idea. What about some kind of mouse over in the high density region?
But you want density, right? What is it that you want?
I want to be able to know that there's a hump in the middle, as opposed to a tabletop.
But the measure that you want out is density, like number per area.
I don't know. I want what I would have. Look, what I want is the lower opacity rendering. If I were to have a mouse over in that central region that looked like this, for example, I mean, this is a goofy idea, but
What if we use some zoom in technique? Because you're wanting zooms, right?
I do want zooms, yes.
And then
Right.
that way you could zoom in and then you would actually see space between the points. Just like when you made it larger, how you could see more.
I mean,
Sure, but it's not going to help you to see the big picture.
the thing I'm concerned about that is how does a human eye pick up how much you're zooming?
Yeah, right. You can't really do that. I think really what this is more like is changing the transfer function in an array 3D, array plot 3D, which we still don't have a great way to do. But that's basically what this is. It's kind of like a transfer function. In
I
fact,
mean, we do have for density plot 3D, endless density plot 3D.
Well, I mean, we have a way, but I mean, I don't know that I would call it a great way. I mean, it's still a bit fiddly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have syntaxes for
I
doing
mean, it's
different
way
things,
better than it
but-
was for image 3D. I mean, it's like
yeah,
a mile ahead of that.
But okay, I mean, to me, that to me is the most sensible thing here. It's like, in printing you have a dot gain function, which is, how much the ink spreads when it hits the paper. And that determines how blackened up the thing will be in that picture below. And that's almost what we need here. It's a dot gain that you can change. Does that make sense? Dot gain / opacity that you can change. And I guess if we're going to have plot, if we're going to have attached cells for plots, that would be a reasonable thing to have in there. Making sense? I think that's the place to go with this.
I mean, I think my concern would be that, on the one hand, you're using opacity so that you can see the density, but then if you counteract this adaptive gain function, that they'll kind of cancel each other out.
I know. It's not going to work. It's not going to work as a default thing. It's not going to work, but it could work as a control. That just like you can zoom in.
I see that.
Right, just like there'll be a thing. You can change the plot range. This is like the Z plot range for an XY plot, just like it would be in a density plot. I think that's the best place to go with this. That there's basically a way of changing, this rendering of Z range. Okay.
One area where we look at a lot of these things is for point patterns because they have much more interesting distributions. They're like clusterings and
yes,
like there's more stuff happening. But most distributions are not that exciting. Most of them have one hump, they're unimodal.
Right.
Oh, that's stupid. Why is this not saying power law here?
Because it has both. Like.
Okay. But I think you should be consistent in the autocomplete.
Well, I mean, so here's the is that the live autocomplete or is that a screenshot? I don't.
That's the live autocomplete.
Right. So if you go down and hit the arrow button at the bottom.
Yeah.
Power is there. And actually power model somehow ended up there twice through but
linear exponential power would be my favorites there and be consistent in the autocomplete.
Right. I mean, and so when it comes to these autocompletes, one of the things that I try to do is
have some diversity so people
have the diversity and have lead the person toward the full range of syntax almost. Right. So we have the strings and we have, sort of the more complicated, more customizable things. And so I wanted one, model, something model open close in that, initial set of things that you see. So that as that discovery mechanism.
Well, I don't particularly like it, but I think it's not obvious how you do better.
Right. Right, and it accepts both power and power model, or sorry, power law. The documented one at the moment is power, to be sort of consistent
Yeah, I
with power
understand.
model.
That's okay. I mean, what's this plot grid is making the wrong ticks here? Oh.
That's yeah.
Look at
So
those
I see
ticks.
3 things that potentially could be what you're referring to. So I'm curious which one.
Well, these ones here are mega teeth.
Okay. I mean, they're too long. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you scroll down to where.
Let me make a general comment. The testing of things with extreme aspect ratios keeps on going wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It would be really good to make sure that Stefan's testing grid has the tall and the wide.
Right, and if you scroll down.
In terms of plot grid testing?
Well, no, I mean just in
Testing
general.
in general. I mean, we've
Yeah.
just had a lot of issues with spacing
Okay.
being wrong and things like this in extreme aspect ratio plots. I mean, I
Okay.
routinely use aspect ratio a quarter, and I have used,
And we need to do, Tim and others, we need to sort of revisit automatic aspect ratios for plot grid and other things because
Anyway, scroll down.
oh, you already did?
Well, no, I'm just. I think those ticks are better lengthwise than.
Yeah, they are.
Which is why I was saying that I think when you evaluate that you're on a machine with an older.
Yeah, okay.
15.0
This
build.
particular thing, I think that the gutters are slightly too big. The spacing between these things.
That is the size you picked out the last time we
Okay,
discussed.
well, maybe, I understand, but maybe it should scale with the size of the plot. Does it?
It is fixed with the size of the plot.
Yeah, well, so that doesn't make sense. Look at you see, this is the kind of thing where somebody other than me should think about it. Look at that. Obviously, that's wrong. Right? At large sizes, I agree with you. It looks good. And as we go larger, we do not want to increase the gutter size.
Right.
Right? So as we go small, how about somebody other than me figures out that there's going to be a problem? Make sense?
Yes, although I mean.
What?
Eventually, there's a point at which small is just useless, right? Because it goes down to 0 at the end, and it's
That's
like,
fine. But
when it's at like 10 by 10.
Look here, you should make the thing 1/3 the size it is. Okay, those gutters.
I'm not sure how to do that, but noted.
Okay. All right. How do I use plot fit to fit only some of the points? No,
clarify what you mean.
Yeah, I mean the case, the very, very common case where you say,
Didn't we bring that up?
We did in the machine learning thing.
Right.
If X is less than 5.
Typical use case, Brett, is that there is an initial transient. You only want to fit the last part of them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's one independent variable, there's often a transient or something crazy in the beginning.
It's like the financial indicators where you're doing moving averages, but the first few things.
A little bit, but
you don't have.
Help me out with something here.
But asymptotics is usually clean, because the big growth, for at least what the asymptotics sort of kicks in and that dominates everything. All the other small stuff is like gone. The actual formula is really complicated, probably, but the stuff, if it's a power law, then the polynomial stuff doesn't matter.
Right. This is what I want to do. Right. I want to do this, and I say, plus random real, 0.05.
We don't have a notation for it, Brett. It's just Stephen.
Yeah, no, it was just
Right. I want to do a fit to that. Oops, I didn't read one there. Fit it. But I want to fit the second part, but not the first part. Okay. And I want to give the plot fit type thing there. So I think it should be a sort of a combinator on the, when we say power model or something, how would we naturally put, so in model fit,
Data first.
right?
The natural thing to do is to sort of not build it in. That's what I'm saying. Like, you restrict the data yourself, and then
No, but that doesn't work because you're messing up the X values and things.
the model has the X values in them.
No, but not if you remove the data.
right. He's saying that you need
You can't just do a take on the data.
right.
No, I mean, it has to come with X values.
Okay, but it doesn't in many cases with list plot.
Oh, yeah.
So here I want to be able to say, if X is greater than 0, do the fit. Otherwise, don't.
So one way, Brett, and it's not the great solution, is that the weights are 0 in the beginning and the weights are 1 at the end. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't pay attention to the early ones. But that's too awkward to specify.
Really what we want is some kind of outer wrapper that says, this isn't right though, because this is not applied to the right thing. This is a mess as well. There's going to have to be, #1. I mean, it'll be like a mesh. You know what I'm saying? Like the mesh things. Right? Like the way we do mesh functions.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the thing we're looking for. So let's try and figure out. I mean, maybe it's another thing like this. Maybe it's something within the power model itself. If you say model fit, we need some notation for, data, and then keep the data only with a certain criterion. All right, here's possible thing.
But isn't it a little bit like having a select baked in?
It is, yes, it is. I mean, selected data.
Don't
we have a thing a bit like this for tabular?
Yeah. Well, select, we rewired select to do just that. You can get the select was expanded, right, to return indices and all kinds of things.
Right, with an arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is roughly what we want, but this isn't quite the right syntax that's making sense to me. It's kind of like apply that thing on the outside first, and then it's more like some kind of combinator where you're, because in the end, what you're going to want to do. Okay, so plot fit goes to F, turns into model fit. Sandra is commenting, it reminds him of sensor distribution. Which is a good observation.
Yeah, not quite. Censoring is when you don't know. You indicate.
But what about the syntax of it? I guess that's just a probability distribution, which this is not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I mean,
so this is saying, whatever the selection function is, it's really saying, apply the selection function to the data, and then apply F as a model
Yeah.
fit. Does
Yes.
model fit have an operator form?
Yes, I think so. I think we've done that consistently for everything.
No, it doesn't seem to have one. That would be its obvious operator form, wouldn't it?
Probably yes.
I would think so.
So we should check into why it doesn't have an operator form.
Does it run into like needing variables or something?
Yeah, but you can have two things in the head.
No, but then you don't know what they are. That doesn't work.
Hmm?
It doesn't work because you've already evaluated the head before you get to the sub-values. So it's got to be a one-argument form of model fit. That's the only thing that could work. But model fit doesn't have to have variables. I mean, it's
No, it doesn't. I was
No, those are baked into the XXX model
right.
objects.
Yeah, right.
That's what I
So-
couldn't remember off the
No,
top
but
of
it
my
has
head.
properties and it has other things as a third argument.
Well, I mean, but properties is. I mean, a third argument is fine.
Well, this is going to give the default property, whatever model fit
Exactly,
data.
which is the model. You know,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, small comment there. Model fit should probably have a one-argument operator form, but that still doesn't solve the problem of how do you select what you're going to operate on with the model fit.
Right. I mean, and the other part of it is, after you do the fit, you want to only draw the fitted curve for that same set of that same region.
Good
right?
point.
Which, I mean, that part's easy at least. It's just like incorporate your function into the region function or something.
I mean,
that sort of thing.
There is a concept but it leads to a lot of other challenging things, which are very powerful. But a selection mask, just basically like a concept we don't quite have. But like for an array, sorry.
For the data, in other words, just like you could have a okay, so that's another possibility. That you'd say this, something like this: model selected of data, comma, x greater than 0. I'm actually liking an approach like this. It's actually something like this is actually kind of interesting.
That is an interesting wrapper on the data.
Yeah, but that also would allow one to do it if there's a list of data there, list of different data sets. You could do this different thing for different data sets and so on. I like this idea. It's much better than trying to wrap this into the model, which is just not the right thing. Now, I mean, the one thing this doesn't let you do is two different models for different regions of the data. Okay, that's another possibility. Okay, I've got another idea. And then you say,
Stephen, I actually think we should have that as a possible model language in model fit.
yeah.
We ended up building this for distributions, so there's a thing called splice distribution that, so think of this case where you often have a different body for the distribution and a different tail model for the distribution.
Yes.
I found this, when I went to visit a lot of finance risk groups, and they were incredibly proud of what they've done, to add a different tail model. It was mostly normal, but the tail was different
No,
for
I understand.
consumer credit cards, for instance. And I wonder if we should have that more generally for sort of model fit type models.
I would think so. This seems like the right thing here. Let's see, this would go value condition.
So this is, I would call like, like derived models, meta models, that combine other models.
Somebody could report that this just said no internet connection. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
I didn't
weird.
notice any like break in your.
No, I understand.
What other, anybody who's listening to, like what other use cases do we know that would benefit from this? Because piecewise, that's a very general scheme. One could combine all kinds of things, and maybe it's standard somewhere.
Well, I don't think this is piecewise for a model.
Yeah. But it allows you to reuse the XXX model language, which is powerful.
Absolutely. But this would be then a wrapper around these, this would be a meta model, so to speak.
Right.
I like this idea of piecewise model.
And somehow you flip the order of conditions and values. But,
What do you mean?
well,
Oh, I
piecewise.
see. Right. And piecewise, it's the other way around.
Right.
Well, that's fine. We should probably talk about in modern times of rules everywhere, we should probably talk about a possibility for an alternative syntax for piecewise. That goes condition arrow value.
That was my original design.
Okay, well, maybe we should support it too. I think we should. I mean, we weren't ready for it at the time. We hadn't ruled the world with rules, so to speak. But let's please, can we put that into an LCC meeting? Possibility of adding syntax to piecewise.
Okay.
But I think that would be pretty nice. Piecewise model of
So if you have piecewise model, it's just something that goes on the right-hand side of
model
plot fit.
Plot fit. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right. And then are you still thinking about the wrapper on the data?
No.
Okay, this is a replacement for that. Gotcha.
Yes. Oops. I think that's pretty beautiful, actually. And then it decodes the model, that language decodes it. I don't know about the, the X value there being the thing that is in, well, I see we can't use X. Then we don't use X if that was a plot. So it has to be hashless than 0 or something. Anyway, this requires a bit more thought. Requires a bit more thought, but this is a winning idea.
Well, I mean, and the thing is if it's a model, then I mean the models are where you do start introducing the variables so that you can refer to things easily.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know how the variables are scoped and so on.
We can sort
that out. I'm just saying that with you'd have a comma X at the end of right. Exactly.
Yeah. This is a really good idea. This will solve the problem that I raised in a nice, elegant way. It's useful. It's very general. And it's also rather easy. It's not like we just have a bunch of pieces here. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I just like to point out something else. These pieces could overlap, right? You might want to fit a model. You might want to fit 2 different models in overlapping regions.
I think we can sort that. We can iterate that.
I know, but I'm just saying that unlike piecewise, it probably wants disjoint regions. This does not.
No, piecewise doesn't. Piecewise doesn't. It does them in order, so you don't have to give them.
I see. Okay, but here I'm saying they could overlap, right? Which
what do you expect the fitted thing to be?
I expect multiple fit lines, right? I expect. Look, there's an exponential fit here. There's a flat fit here, and there's a linear fit to the whole thing. I want all 3 of those.
But also, we can have multiple models, and I don't know if we'd support that in plot fit.
We don't yet,
but we should, right?
Okay.
Right. I mean, I think it was,
so that's a big deal for model fit that we do multiple models.
Right. Okay. This is an important idea. We should execute on it. Okay. This was a simple thing.
Okay, cool.
What's that?
I said cool.
This thing here?
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying this one you just clicked into was a simple thing.
How do I get rid of the frame on the empty cells?
Right.
Okay, this was the thing that I was talking to John about, and John had forgotten that we allow ragged arrays in grid.
Yeah.
And I think it should just not frame it out by default. Do you agree? I mean, conceivably, we could have some setting of frame arrow full or something that does frame it out, but I think otherwise it's just going to have ragged pieces at the end here. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're just dealing with a ragged case, then the worst case scenario is, something like imagine the second row only had one element in it, then you'd have, kind of a really weird indent, but it's a really weird grid, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any, look, we've also got the span from above business, span from below, which we can have in grids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's already taken care of.
It was designed for grids, actually.
Yes, right. But that was, and that works also in graphics grid, right?
Yes.
Okay, but then that will not frame things, right?
Right.
Right. I mean, that is a thing of its own that, I mean, you don't have frames cutting through it or something.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a straightforward little baguette.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And so this was, right, so ArrayPlot 3D, sort of was, had color from the start.
No, it didn't. The values? I don't see any color here.
I think it had, even if you only have one, it had colors, probably what Brett means.
Right, I mean, that is not what empty and black. That is, right, I mean, that's yellow.
That is a color, Stephen. That yellow is a color.
Okay, all right, fine. But you're saying here that I see that it's defaulting to colors.
Right, and so for that reason, I mean, and those colors aren't the same as color rules goes to colors in ArrayPlot. And so that was why I didn't put colors on the color rules page, as in the notes and whatnot.
Well,
it's because it wasn't supported in ArrayPlot 3D, and those were like the two main users of color rules.
You should put it there.
Okay.
You should say okay, but here, ArrayPlot 3D could support color rules arrow colors and color it according to the same colors that are used in ArrayPlot, which I think would be a good thing to do.
I think so. I mean, I was even considering, changing, the default colors for ArrayPlot 3D to use the colors sequence.
Well, what does it look like if you do that? What is the color sequence? Where do I get it? This is again
it's
stupid problem.
It's stupid.
Yeah, well, I know. So fix that and make it the case that if I say, if I go color rules and it says, and it says, colors. By the way, for goodness sake, let's pick some less ugly colors here. Can we please use standard yellow and standard blue, please, to educate people? I thought we were changing a bunch of documentation to educate people about the standard color names. Aren't we doing that?
I mean, a large amount of documentation has been changed, but
okay. Well, that documentation would look beautiful, and it also educates people, right?
Right. I mean, so the process that has been doing that, they started with like black and white, that are horrible for light dark, dark mode reasons.
Okay, anyway, just get this fixed, okay? Yep. And go through and look for other raw colors in the documentation, which I thought we'd agreed we were going to do.
Well, I mean, what's been done, as best as I know, is Stefan here. He might know better, but what's been done, as far as I know, is eyeballing basically the documentation in dark mode, looking for things that.
That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for changing things that are stupid colors like this and trying to make them into standard color, because that's what we want to educate people to use. So can we feed that to the under documentation team and let them deal with it?
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay, yeah, that's a reasonable process. But I don't think that that in fact was an effort that you had really kicked off in
Okay.
that way before.
I thought I did when we introduced standard colors, which I like very much, by the way.
I mean,
well, it was definitely understood that documentation that looked crummy in dark mode needed to be fixed.
Yeah, okay, fine. All right, okay. All right, this is a different issue. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what am I saying here? This this should have colors on this page with a click to copy so that you can tell what they are. Right? What are they, in fact?
it is, at the moment, okay, so like in that array plot 3D.
No, I want to know what is the setting for color rules, arrow colors. What are the colors?
At the moment, it is just an internal sequence. I mean, and it is.
Oh, for goodness sake. Haven't we been through this 85 times before? Don't ever do that. It's got to be exposed. People have got to be able to find that sequence. How am I supposed to find that sequence? Use color recognize or something?
I mean, one approach is, well,
That's really not good enough. Sorry. Just come on. We got to do better.
yes.
Don't do that every damn time. Don't do that.
So when it was done originally, there were things about it that caused it to not fit well into color data. And so some of that has been
kind of spiral,
alleviated.
right? It uses some kind of Fibonacci spiral, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Which, I mean, so
with consistent levels, I mean the kind of perceptual intensity of these things is equal. Yes?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. I mean, and if you do like range of -10 to 10, then
okay, then it will probably. Okay. So look, minimal thing is if it's a simple function, just document it on the color rules page for now.
Okay? It is not a simple function.
Then put it in a WFR.
Okay.
And document it.
Sounds good. That's easy.
I mean, that's part of the Wolfram language data thing of putting all these random thingoids from functions in there.
Yep.
So you could ask Eric, etc., about that.
Which Eric?
W.
Okay.
Okay. How do I get these colors? I just want to use them for oh my God. Look.
Array plot backtick.
What is the thing called? So I just want to say, this is so disgusting. It's just unbelievable. This is ridiculous. I need to go soon, but very unimpressive that I have to do this. And that's also bizarre that it's so slow. Okay, we got him. Actually, I should have done. It's amazing we can do this, but it's kind of a grotesque way to do it. Oh, it just was loading something. Okay, so here, now what I want to do is this, say color rules here,
yep.
right? want to add 0 goes to white.
0 goes to. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Oh, I wanted nothing, right?
Well,
So
I mean, but
none.
it did that. I'm not.
I'm not sure it did. I think it might have put a white cube in there.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Why don't I just do oh, okay. What is it called? Relative prime cube? What do you mean? How do you tell if three numbers are relatively prime?
GCD.
Okay. Well, let's just plot it.
Equals 1.
Actually, no, all we have to do is just say array of GCD hash hash -1. And that will make us a fine object, which actually doesn't look bad. Except that it went very red relative to our usual. But
Right.
we should just say colors arrow this, and it'll be nice and consistent. I'm a little bit confused by that because is red the first color in array plot?
Yes. With color rules goes to colors. Yes.
Okay, so if we do array plot here,
I mean, I think you didn't want that color rules. I think you wanted.
no, I do want that color
Oh,
rules.
okay,
That's
okay.
equivalent to the color rules.
Right.
A little bit garish, but it's not horrible. We should certainly have that option. Okay. Anything else for today?
I don't think so.
Okay. Talk to you all soon.
Talk to you later.